Well, I'm Scott Brady with Expedition Portal and Overland Journal, and I'm out here with a very cool vehicle. This is the Adrenalin Industries Dodge Ram 5500 Overland camper. Now, this vehicle has a 19,500 pound gross vehicle weight rating, and Adrenalin Industries makes every good use of those available pounds to make one of the most comfortable and capable campers on the market.
All right, let's take a look at the inside of this Adrenalin camper. It's built on a Ram 5500 chassis, so it's going to give you about 19,500 pounds or so of gross vehicle weight rating. You can see we've got a tire pressure monitoring system. The blue colors are going to be your temperatures, and the yellow colors are going to be your pressures. Looks like they might just be flipped a little bit here, which is an easy thing to fix. But those are really key. Those are critical when you're running huge tires like this. And with all this weight, you got to make sure that you're keeping those temperatures below around 170 degrees. I actually like to keep it in the high 150s, low 160s, and no higher so you don't get any delamination. And then right here, we've got this very cool liquid spring system. I've just leveled the truck as far as it'll level, and I'm on a very uneven campsite here, so the fact that it has leveled it to less than 1 degree of pitch or roll is pretty impressive. And then you can go to a manual control screen here, but the liquid springs they provide a very comfortable ride. That's one of the things that I'm really noticing about this camper is really easy ride and drive. Obviously, you're not driving too fast, but you're just getting a really comfortable low driver fatigue experience throughout the day on narrower roads or roads with a lot of frost heaves and maybe irregularities. You notice the weight of the camper a little bit more, but overall, this is as good or better than most of the other campers on the market, certainly in this weight class. And then they're taking full advantage of the factory aux switches. A couple things that I really like to use with a heavy camper like this: exhaust brake. You want to be using that, and you want to be using your tow haul mode. But these are going to be what's going to flip on all of the auxiliary lights that you've got on the front, sides, and camp lights, etc. If you were towing, integrated tow package here, tow brake controller on the vehicle. And then you've got a really nice camera system here, so when you turn on a blinker, it actually turns on the side that you're turning towards, and then it flips back. You can always just tap on one of these and get the rear to show up if you're just wanting to see it as like a rear view mirror. All right, so any good walk around of a vehicle like this wouldn't be complete without going through all the specifications. And of course, starting with these liquid springs, it's their smart suspension, and we've got these massive Goodyear G275 MSAs. These are about 50 inches in diameter, and they have a higher speed rating than the Continentals, although you're still completely constrained by temperatures. So speed rating is one thing, but you're going to live and die literally by your temperatures. These liquid springs are incredible in the fact that they can hold the weight of this camper in the shock absorber, in the damper, which has an internal lifting mechanism, lowering mechanism, so it can raise and lower the suspension several inches to not only auto level, but to, for the load, but to also auto level and camp. So you can see you got a 5-link front suspension, which is very familiar to the Dodges, and then these massive tires. Now, one of the things that I like that they do is they go with the lightest weight wheel possible, and then they spend a lot of time shaving the tires, balancing the tires and wheels so you end up with a really comfortable ride and a really true tire. The heavier beadlock style wheels, although they have their advantages off highway, they do make for a lot of driver fatigue and a lot of vibration. And we can see here, coming into this front bumper, we got a lot of rigid lights. So we've got rigid cornering lights, driving lights, we've got additional cornering lights, and then we have two massive rigid light bars along the top. Now this bumper houses a come-up winch, which is high quality winch. They are the winches that I've used in all of my high latitude expeditions like Antarctica and Greenland. Massive recovery points, of course. These need to be gross vehicle weight rated recovery points, so they're going to be massive. And then we've got air chucks here in the corner for airing up and down the tires. Massive fender flares to make sure that we clear over the tires. You can see that these are 335/80 R20 tires with a load range of F. So you can see these camp lights here on the side. Look at these reinforced corners. This is a really key attribute of the Adrenalin campers, is the heavy-duty box construction. Fairly lightweight, but a lot of reinforcement, so it can truly be used off-highway with trees and branches, etc., without doing damage to the composite panels. Then you've got two windows up there in the front. Those are optional. Depending on how much gravel road, how much international travel you plan on doing, you may want to opt away from those windows just because of the chances of a stone cracking one of them. And then you've got up above the bed, you have a massive skylight and an escape hatch if you need it. You can see the front-facing camera there just under the overhang. It's got these power steps, which I just think are absolutely critical on a vehicle like this. So you can see how they pop down and up out of the way. And they're fairly sturdy. Got a really high quality entry door. Take a look at the inside of the camper here in a little bit. You've also got these alpha dynamic steps. These are some of the higher quality steps you see on the market. They extend and retract quickly, and they provide a lot more entry access. They have, a lot of times these steps are just 2 steps. This one's got 3. And then we have liquid springs also in the rear. And you can see the offset difference in the tire because this has been converted to a single rear wheel, which means that the wheels are mounted in one direction on the front and in the other direction in the rear to get the offset correct. Because this would normally be a dual rear wheel or a dually rear configuration. So how it's fitted this way, it gets the track width correct, front and rear. Super heavy duty rear bumper. This is custom to Adrenalin's specifications. You can fit it with a rear winch. It also has a receiver hitch for mounting up a trailer, or if you look at these heavy duty brackets here that are welded into the bumper, that is meant for a lifting and lowering motorcycle tray. This spare tire mount is quite unique. It has a hydraulic actuated ram that slowly lifts the tire up and over, and it actually allows it to come down all the way down onto the ground. Very smooth. You got to be really respectful of it. There's a lot of weight and a lot of power in this. You always want to keep yourself out of the swing of the tire just in case anything wasn't to work properly. You can see that heavy duty ram in there. All right, and then we've got our dual fuel tanks, and it's auto transferring. You end up with just about 100 gallons of total fuel on board. All right, so we have the access door for the Thetford toilet. The Thetford toilet is a cassette style, carries a couple gallons. Even if it has wheels, you can carry it into a pit toilet or into a bathroom and dump it out quite easily. It does easily work for 2 people for 3, 4, or 5 days, and then you need to dump it. I do like composting toilets because they can last a lot longer, but they're a little bit more friendly to the environment. But these cassette toilets are so convenient. All right, and then you have this massive rear garage, which you can see all the space in here. I mean, you can run about an 8-foot wide item inside here. You can see chairs and other things stored. Just above this is where the dinette is, and that's how they can make such good use of the space. Then you can see all of the electrical componentry here, your master disconnects, all of your fusing, get all of your charging, get quick access to all of these electrical systems. So if you do need to do any repairs or change out a fuse or flip back on a breaker, you can do that. Okay, and then these lower lockers, which are matching on each side, they have massive storage, and it's really down low. So this is where you want to put your tools. You got hatchets. This is also where the air up and air down system. It's got twin Viair compressors, and you can air up at any corner, and it auto shuts off based upon the pressure you set with this mechanical valve. All right, and it wouldn't be an awesome camper without a beautiful, comfortable interior. So let's take a look inside. Okay, so to talk about the inside of the Adrenalin Overland camper, we might as well do that in the dinette. This is a rear dinette configuration that's become a lot more common in the space, but it is hard to express how big this camper feels when you're inside it. I mean, you could have a full family in here and nobody would feel like they're on top of each other. I do kind of like this corner here. I've got a big table in front of me. I can sit and work for hours. I've got 120 over my shoulder. I've got high output USB-C and USB-A. They've got these cool kind of moly panels that you can use to store your wires and everything else up in the corner. But it is, this dinette is great. I mean, it's beautiful, full leather cushions that do feel durable. It's kind of like a proper kind of ranch hide saddle leather that should hold up really well. All right, we've got a big TV in the corner. In fact, I think it's too big of a TV. It needs to be smaller because it does impact ingress here. And if you swing it kind of out of the way towards that window, then it's not properly supported by the hinge. But look at that AC unit. This has a 2-zone air conditioning system. We got an AC in the dinette and another one over the bed. And you got some more of the moly panels, but like, look at this saddle leather cushions here. And a huge table. And this table comes down electrically. Actually, the switch is up there. The table comes down low, so that way you can turn this into what it certainly looks like a double, if not a queen-size bed here in the back. And you got big open windows. And when you have a view like we do right now, it is so nice to pop these open. I mean, look at this view right outside the window. And this is why you want a truck like this, because you can get back on a 2-track dirt road and have a camp spot like this all to yourself. You can see the shape of the table. This is so you can ingress and egress out each side, but it is a massive space. I mean, you could easily fit 6 to 8 people in this dinette. All right, I'm going to talk about one of the things I like about this camper the most is these all-metal cabinets. They're very strong and lightweight, but they're going to just hold up to years and years of use, including internationally. You've got really durable latches here, and they have lifting struts. Lights turn on when you open them up. You've got high quality windows with tight screens. I mean, look at that view. I would run these the other direction. You want to have your privacy coming down, so that way if you're standing here lightly clothed or not clothed. You want the privacy screen down below, and they're easily to reverse. It depends on the person. Some people want the screen down low so that you can get more airflow without as much sun coming in. So there's lots of options, but personally I want the privacy screen down here on the bottom. And you've got a pop-up 120 here just in case you have a coffee maker or something that you want to plug in. A couple USB sockets as well. Big deep sink and really good water pressure, and 100 gallons of water on board. So like, we've been camping out for days, taking showers and cleaning dishes, and we're barely even halfway through our water. Huge rubbish bin. These are heavy duty metal cabinets, so they lift up and extend out and latch back in place. You've got a twin induction cooktop. I'm a big fan of induction cooktops. You want to minimize the amount of propane or eliminate any propane you have on board. This truck has no propane. It uses diesel to heat the hot water and provide air heat through a heat exchanger, but induction cooktop. Moving a little further forward, we got a lot of thoughtful touches. 2 Rocky Talkies for good communications. We've got like a little mini kind of bug out kit here with some survival items. We've got a proper first aid kit, and then we've got some additional storage here. This is one of the higher quality doors that I've seen on a camper. Reminds me of Unicat and other high quality campers. I'm a big fan of these bug screens, so you get tons of airflow in here if you don't want to run the air conditioning. And then this screen is kind of clever how it just uses kind of friction to hold itself in place. They have a lot of marine components, so like where it says wash down here, that's to start and stop your water pump. And then you've got a Fiamma awning, electric awning that extends out. You can turn your steps off. Heavy duty grab rail. And then this is another huge locker. I like to use it for shoes. Got a dop kit in the top. Tons of space. I mean, you could have jackets. You could even turn this into a small hanging locker if you wanted to. Reconfigure it slightly. Another really thoughtful use of space is these steps. So each of these steps also has storage. I think it's a great place to chuck laundry. You can put a laundry bag in there, or you can put additional fresh linens down here, or the linens that you need for the dinette if you've got your kids coming along. And then this is kind of a key component. This is going to be all your electronics. So I'm going to show you behind the curtain here because of the thoughtful wiring that they do. So you've got the backside of all of these components. It has a camera system that records 24/7 on the outside. This C-Zone also comes from the marine industry. They're used also in RVs, but you can see I can turn on and off the Starlink, turn on and off the water pump, the 120 volt inverter. They use 24 volt house batteries, which gives them a little bit of efficiency around the components. You can see we've not even used close to half of the water. We've got 39% left in one side, in the passenger side tank, and 100% on the driver's side tank. Gray water level is at 49. You don't want to be dumping gray water unless it's appropriate to do so. And this is how I control the air conditioning system here. A lot of other pages to scroll through. You can turn on and off all of these different systems, exterior lights, etc. And then this is a panel that I like a lot because it shows how your 12 and 24 volt systems are working and what your state of your charges are off of solar, from the vehicle, shore power, etc. And it's just really easy to get back to that screen. This is your AquaHot. This runs your hot water and your heater. So it uses a radiator to heat the interior, and then it keeps the hot water hot for when you want to take a shower We have not run out of hot water yet. Nice stereo system. They're kind of into it. So Adrenalin has got great stereos installed, subwoofers, and all the cool stuff. And then this, from a safety standpoint, if you're in bed, you can turn on this monitor and it's going to show you 4 exterior camera positions. So you can see the back of the camper, you can see both sides and the front. So if you had something going bump in the night, you could flip on lights, you can turn on cameras and see what's going on. And it is also always recording. And of course, it wouldn't be a really nice camper if it didn't have a really nice bed. This is a king size bed. I have found it to be super comfortable. A lot of times these camper mattresses just leave my back in pain, but lots of windows. You got windows on each side. You also have windows at the front. I would probably skip the front windows because of my use case, but look at that massive skylight. So you can pull those screens back and you can see the stars at night. It's also a place to egress in an emergency, if there was a fire, etc., and get a ton of airflow. And there's another television, of course, the other zone of the air conditioning. So you can turn the fan speed down and have plenty of cooling here in the camper. So it's just super comfortable for sleeping. I do think that it needs probably a little bit more battery capacity, probably up in closer to 450 or 500 amp hours. If you want to run the AC a lot in where you're living in really warm climates. And a nice camper is always known for its showers and bathrooms. So you have, with 100 gallons of water on board, you've got comfortable showering, hot water showering. I like the fact that the hose comes off so you can clean shoes and other items down here on this teak flooring. You've got a heater inlet. You have the Thetford cassette style toilet here, which is water flushing. And then this is a clever little sink that pops down. Let's see if I can do that with one hand. Yeah, there you go. You got a clever little sink that pops down if you need an additional sink space. And then a massive medicine cabinet for storing more stuff. Right on the back side of the galley here, you've got a high-powered microwave. I would typically want this to be a microwave and convection oven because cookies. And then you've got a really nice isotherm fridge here. Tons of space on the inside. And then you have, it's a dual zone, so if you wanted to, you could run this lower zone as a freezer. I've got it as kind of like drink and water overflow storage, but I would probably crank this thing up and make it one big deep freezer when you're in the backcountry for extended periods. And then we got a little bit more storage here. So this could be a hanging locker. This is actually just set up to be a little bit of a pantry right now. And then got a whole bunch more drawers. Fill that full of clothes and camera gear and everything else. So overall, one of the most spacious, comfortable, and durable camper interiors that we have encountered in our testing.